All right, I'm here with Brandon Wakefield, owner of Satori Gym. He is not only a fighter but an MMA coach. Brandon, who got you into the sport of MMA?
Um, well, Rick Torres, he actually owns a gym here in town. He owns a traditional martial arts school where they teach like judo and things like that. At the time, I was doing a lot of drugs and all the wrong things. So I reached out to him as a counselor. He said, if you stop doing drugs, you stop doing all the crazy stuff, you go clean and sober, I'll train you for free. So I spent the next 4 years training nothing but judo, traditional martial arts, learning how to fight, went drug free, and never really looked back. Eventually needed to get past traditional martial arts, so ended up branching off, learning Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, things like that. But it all started with Rick just giving me a chance and trying to change my habits.
I think Rick Torres. I think he's the one that speaks at the schools sometimes. He did a karate. He's done a karate studio for a lot. I know him. He's a very real guy, real genuine.
Yeah, for sure. He's a good guy, man. And he still supports me till this day, even though we're technically competitors. He's still my brother. He's a good, wholesome guy. So I have nothing but love and appreciation for him.
Okay, so what person influenced in your life to drive to continue this journey, not only as a fighter but a coach, because you are both?
The person that really, honestly, myself, at a certain point, I really had to start realizing what was a more productive outlet for me. If I'm not doing something productive, or if I'm not training, fighting, or coaching, I have a bad habit of dipping into all the wrong things.
Depression.
Yeah, man. And so really it's just my way of holding myself accountable and being a better person. I really use it as an outlet to keep myself on track and doing the things that I know that are going to take me to a productive place in my life, not a counterproductive. So.
And then, yeah, because then as you develop the relationships with the people, then you realize that you are accountable to them too, because now you hold their dreams because you're their coach. So now if you're not showing up for them, then they can't even show up for themselves because you're their quarterback.
100%. And then I have to lead by example too. So like, who am I if I'm out doing all these wrong things? Who am I as a leader to these guys that I'm trying to get to do the right things? It's the same reason why, like, as a coach, I find it so important to stay in shape myself. Like, not disrespecting coaches that get out of shape, but like, I'm the leader. You know what I mean? So like, what kind of example am I setting if I'm training you to be a fighter, training you to be in shape, and I'm walking around?
How can I teach you about determination when I like determination?
Right. I'm teaching you discipline, and I obviously don't have any. So that's just how I feel about it. So, but yeah, same thing. It just holds me accountable to lead these guys, and the best way to lead is through example.
So you have your own gym, Satori, and so what do you do there, and what do you actually specialize in?
Yes, we specialize in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and MMA. I'm the MMA and Muay Thai coach. We also have another MMA coach and then a different Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach named Josh Richards. But we have a bunch of different arts that we train. We compete in all three of them. We compete in Muay Thai, we compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and we compete obviously in MMA. But yeah, we specialize in quite a few things.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so Tapper Scrap is November 1st. What fighters do you have that will be competing there?
So the main event is Greg Johnson. He's one of our lead fighters. He's one of our best fighters. He's fighting for the title against Johnny Gonzalez, which will be a rematch. And then we have Kenneth Sanchez is fighting Contreras. I forget his first name, but his last name's Contreras. And they come from Texas style fight team or something like that.
Okay, so what do you think Greg's opponent's strengths are?
He's really good. I can be pretty unbiased because I study all these guys, but they fought before, and he's a really good striker. He also's got decent ground game as well. He comes from a good gym over at Black Widow. Got nothing but respect for the guy. He's actually, in my opinion, the toughest fight Greg could have in Texas at that weight class. So I think the way that we're going to have to beat him, we did really well in the striking department. We ended up getting
Greg won, right? Did Greg win the first one?
No, Greg lost the first one,
Greg lost
but
the first
he was out striking him. The guy's known as a striker, and Greg was out striking him, which caused him to end up shooting and taking Greg down. He ended up getting the control
Oh, wow.
and won the decision based off of taking him down and getting the control. So the game plan will be similar. Greg's jiu-jitsu is improved. Greg's striking's improved. I think we can outstrike him. The main thing is just going to be fighting him smart. It's going to take being on point to beat this guy, but I think if Greg comes in with the right skills and mindset, I think we take it this time.
What is the comparison in the other fight with the Contreras fight?
So that fight's a little interesting. So we don't have too much tape. I was able to watch 2 fights on him. The kid in his last fight got overwhelmed. I think that if Kenny fights smart and uses his control, I think wrestling-wise, jiu-jitsu-wise, and striking-wise, I think Kenny's more technical. So the main thing that we're going to have to do, I can't give away too many of our plans because I don't know who's watching, but the main thing that we're going to do is focus on camp for his, I'm going to try to say this without giving away too much. We're going to focus on Kenny's strengths more than the opponent's weaknesses.
Kenny's plan is to whoop some ass.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely his plan.
And he's
That's
hungry.
not going to change.
He's
Just
hungry.
know that.
Yeah. He's
Kenny
hungry.
is coming.
Yeah, that's true.
Ha.
That's true.
Ha.
And you see where he started to? He was like 260.
So no, I'm not
Okay.
familiar.
Yeah,
So,
okay. Dude, so
so
Kenny,
did he lost weight or did he gain?
yeah, he lost half of his weight. So he started off at 260 pounds, right?
Okay.
And I used to work at Sports. I was a bartender, bouncer over there, and he would come into the bar every weekend, and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna start the gym," and he never would for like a year
That
straight.
drunk talk.
Yeah, always.
Drunk talk.
Always.
2 shots in,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be John Jones.
So every week, this dude would say, "Hey, I'm gonna be there Monday," and he would never show up. And so one day he got drunk, and the next day he showed up. He has not left since then. So he's lost 130 pounds. Fights at 135 now. So
How is that possible, man?
now he's completely switched. His diet's like on point. He's training every day. He's super focused. He's like ripped out now. It's crazy. It's wild. He's like a success story that more people should pay attention to, because he's like, once he became dedicated.
Yeah, and then see, that's the importance of the first step.
Mhm.
The importance of I can say I'm gonna do it, but then when I finally just jump the cliff and hey,
For
I
sure.
gotta land somewhere. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So, okay, so who else on this fight card do you look forward to watching?
All the Monsters Den guys, they're all friends of mine. I'm a supporter of them. Chris Gonzalez, Johnny Ramirez, anybody really. I don't know their debut guys too much, but I'm a fan of the Monsters Den guys. They always come to fight. They always make it entertaining. So I'm excited to watch them fight. I think Chris Black is on that card, which he's been to every gym in town, and he's so controversial. Half the city hates him, but this dude, like, have you ever seen him fight?
No.
He goes in to murder. Like,
he goes into murder.
Dude,
Clay Guida type.
Dude, yeah.
Remember Clay?
Yeah.
Clay
for
would
sure.
take an ass whooping bloody everywhere. Clay goes hard.
Dude, if you watch Chris fight, it's
Chris Gonzalez?
no, Chris Black.
Oh, Chris Black.
But he's throwing, and he's like 170 pounds of just muscle.
Pretty big.
Yeah, and he's throwing to
Wow.
hurt you. I don't know if he can make it to the second round because he's throwing the whole tank. Probably could, but yeah, it's
If you make it past round 1, you might have a chance.
yeah, and he makes it clear like he's not there like for the sport. He's there to hurt you. Like it's the dude.
I like that guy.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. So if you get a chance, watch that fight because
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be there. I'm for sure
Yeah.
gonna be there.
it's gonna get wild.
Okay, so as we said, your gym specializes in more than one thing. You named some of those things. How do you feel a fighter benefits from learning several different arts and not so much focusing on just maybe jiu-jitsu, boxing, or whatever it is, like diversifying themselves into a full fighter?
In MMA, it's paramount. You have to. There's no other option. You have to be good at striking. You have to get good at jiu-jitsu. You have to be good at wrestling. You cannot have weaknesses, otherwise they'll get exploited. So it's absolutely necessary in MMA. If you want to just compete in jiu-jitsu and not do MMA, obviously it's a whole different area. But I will say that in MMA you have to do everything, especially nowadays. People are too good. So
What about diet? Like how does okay? Say that we're dieting for a fight, and then all this. What is pretty much the diet for an MMA fighter? How do you go about helping them on a diet? Do you send them to somebody? Do you kind of
yeah, I do. I know a lot of coaches like take that upon themselves, but I don't pretend to be good at things that I'm not good at. So I have a nutritionist that I use. I'll send my fighters to them. As long as they're using someone or they know what they're doing. If they do need help, my wife does nutrition, so I'll let her do their numbers. But other than that, I outsource it. So I outsource strength and conditioning to someone better than me. I outsource the diet to someone that spends all day studying that, because I don't have time to study all that and figure out macros and all that.
Yeah, see me as a personal trainer, because then they're like, hey, you're a personal trainer, right? Hey, well, can I get a diet? Well, that's really not my specialty. I can do strength training, I can do personal training, whatever, but the dieting is, you want to go to somebody who is certified completely in the diet. For sure.
It's a whole different science in itself, and that's cool that you do that too, because it's just being self-aware. I think so many times people try to over deliver on things that they don't.
Their strengths.
Yeah, you're like you don't know all that. Like you don't have to be good at everything, and I think it shows your character more to be honest about that and be like, hey man, this guy's better than me at it. You need to go to him. You know what I mean? This is what I'm good at, and you can trust me because I'm honest enough to tell you that.
And then every person has a part of that fighter. Like everybody brings something to the table to make that fighter better. Okay, so the weight cut. I know that these guys go through some major weight cuts, and like, how hard is that as a fighter? I know as a powerlifter, sometimes I would be 260 and cut down to 242 in one day. Yeah. And I mean, it's not easy. You can water load. There's ways to do it. But I mean, whenever you have to fight, cut that weight within a certain time, and then actually have to perform the next day, it takes a different kind of spirit to bring that out. So what do you do on the weight cut stuff? Like, how do you specialize in that? And what do you tell a fighter? Hey, look, man, you're about to go through a dark moment for this next 24 hours.
For sure. And I think everybody, like, you think you know that it's going to be bad, but it's worse.
It's worse.
It's so much, but yeah, so we have a whole protocol. We end up water loading. We cut salt. We end up using dandelion root. We hit the sauna. We have a full week out protocol for it. Usually, I don't like cutting more than...
What about food intake? Because I don't eat 24 hours before. Sometimes if it takes me not eating, hey, that's what happens.
For sure. Well, and it depends on... So we have to be calculated in where we at. Like, there's a big difference between a 200-pound guy cutting 20 pounds and a 155-pound guy cutting 20 pounds.
Very different.
It's a percentage, right?
It's weight, yeah.
So,
a 150-pound guy, 10 pounds is huge.
Right. So it depends on what weight class we're at. What's the percentage? That's how you have to almost calculate it. What's the percentage of your body weight that you're trying to lose?
Yeah.
And then that'll determine what we can eat. Like my last fight, I had to cut 22 pounds in the last week, so my diet was really restricted. I was at a severe calorie deficit with no carbs. I was eating a little bit of protein every morning, but that's about it. And then I was water loading, and then 2 days before the fight, I stopped eating, which is a little early, but I had a lot to cut. And then you kind of have to play it as the weight cut goes too, because if you're looking at the numbers and they're not hitting where you need to hit, you gotta make.
What about when you get like down to the last 2 pounds and you're just like, man, fuck this,
dude? Those
like you're like, dude, this is like. It's like, dude, do I want to do this? I start questioning myself.
Yeah.
And like, why do because I would make my hotel room a sauna. I would put the blow dryer on. I would cut out all the things, turn off everything, turn the hot water on in the sink, turn the hot water in the bathtub, cover myself in a blanket, and just like sit in there until I just sweat everything out. I'm spitting as much as possible, and then I have a scale there. I wipe the water off me. I weigh myself. I get back in the tub, hot as possible, and then I'm serious. It's a crazy situation.
So Peter Morales just commented on. I'm assuming yours because I went to go get water.
Yeah.
And he says I cut 60 pounds.
Man, first of all.
And then came out Chris and said, I want to fight Chris.
Oh man. I think I get Peter. Train me for about 10 minutes, I get him. You train me for about 10 minutes and I get 2 beers in my system, Peter's out of there.
Hey, that'd be 10 minutes more than Peter's trained this year.
Oh!
So,
I'm going to beat him by 8 minutes, right?
Yeah, man. So, but the water cut, man, it's pretty brutal. And so to go to your question, that last 2 pounds, it's so much harder than you think. Like those first couple pounds, they fly off, right?
Yeah.
Those last 2, they're gonna fight you to the death. You're gonna start having some dark thoughts in there.
I understand.
Some I can't do it.
What's worse than that is that now you've cut the weight. So now, what do you go about doing to like put on the weight? Me, I'm like ice cream, chips. Like, I'm just trying to flood my body with anything I can just to get the scale back to a decent place.
So that first hour's pretty important because you want to first get the liquids back in you. That's what you need the most.
Do you do IV?
If you can. I don't because now
it's bougie. Yeah. I mean, I understand because sometimes you don't have it.
Yeah, if you can.
Pedialyte.
So I'll Pedialyte up. We'll make a little concoction of Pedialyte, some electrolytes. Really just get you slowly get the water back in. I had a fighter last fight. I'm like, hey, you need to sip that water. Do not chug that water.
Chug it, yeah.
And he did. He chugged a Pedialyte. I'm like, you're an idiot. And he ended up. We were at Buffalo Wild Wings. He threw up all over their floor, all over the waiter's leg. Like it was.
I had some good people teaching me how to cut. Westside Barbells, Jason Coker and Sam Bird, one of the greatest scouters of all time. And those dudes used to cut weight. Jason would take it to a crazy level. I think he benched 9 something at 220. You know what I mean? He's one of the greatest.
Wild.
He would always help me through weight cuts, but I mean, I had some good people. But I understand that. So okay, so then what is your weight? So before you cut, you were how much?
I'm usually walking around at like 162, 163.
Okay, so in that fight, how close did you get back to your regular weight?
I went over. I came back to 166, I think.
Wow, that's crazy. Within 24 hours.
Yeah, and the main thing is because I've cut carbs, right? And so now my body's starving for carbs. Once I get those carbs back in my system, once I refuel up, and now I'm eating as much as I want, right? So because I need all I can get.
Yeah.
So at that time, like my last one, I ended up putting on 20, but I don't think you should do as hard of a cut as I did, but I wanted to be the bigger fighter. And there's so, like, mentally, it's a win, too, if you're able to do it. Because I remember thinking, I'll fight a bear tomorrow if you give me a drink of water and, like, a Jack in the Box taco. I don't care who I fight. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, I'll fight anybody if you just give me some water. You know what I mean? So that's a mental edge. And then when you get that water, you're like, I don't care that I'm fighting tomorrow. I'm drinking. You know, I almost died. So, like,
really, you almost died?
Yeah. So,
I've gotten to a place where I go to the restroom, I'm pissing blood. Like, it's to a level like.
Yeah, I haven't got that far. But
I'm like, dude, I'm like Jason. Like, there's nothing coming out. Like, I'm throwing up, and there's nothing coming out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm heaving. I'm like, it gets to a dark spot.
Yeah, it's severely unhealthy.
Severely
for
unhealthy.
Sure. And it's unfortunate that we have
so
to
when
do
you
that.
So when you explain to a fighter like what you're about to go through, I mean, you have to really nurture somebody mentally because not everybody's.
Yeah.
We say we're ready to jump in the deep water,
Right.
but when we're in the deep water, we realize you could drown real quick, spiritually, emotionally, any way, form. So how do you like explain to somebody, hey man, this is how we're gonna cut, and you're gonna have to be mentally strong.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I explain it the best I can with words, but like we said, like you don't know, and then you don't know what people have. Like I've seen fighters that I thought weren't gonna have too difficult of a time quit, like not make weight, which is to me unacceptable. It's not a mentality I really understand or relate to. So it's just so confusing to me. But I've seen fighters in there quit, and so really that's that testing period. That's what these first few fights are for. Like, how bad do you want it? You know what I mean?
How bad do you want it? Yeah, I've seen some. It's crazy. So and strength training? How important is strength training when it comes to fighting? So like when it comes to an athlete developing, strength in legs, whatever it is, what do you do to take them to get them stronger? And how important is that?
It's important. Like at the end of the day, if you got two people with the same skill set, the same size, the guy with the stronger and more disciplined strength training is gonna have the edge. And in fighting, like just like training all these other arts, we're always looking for the edge, right? You don't go into a fight like not looking for an advantage. My goal is to have an advantage on you. So I'm going to be strength training. I'm going to be doing jiu-jitsu. I'm going to be doing wrestling. I'm going to be doing striking. I want to have any advantage that I can. So it's super important. And it's also important to start developing the right power, which is why strength training is so huge and why I recommend HIIT training. Right now, I don't do all that I don't do all that programming for them. But I have a guy that I use and that I send my fighter, Tyler Chauvinek.
Tyler Chauvinek.
Okay.
Where is he out of?
He's out of Evolve right now.
Evolve. Okay, Brandon Webb. Okay, cool. Yeah, Brandon. I know Brandon.
Yep. So I'll send him over there, and for me, what he did, I don't like a guy on me all the time. I'm pretty self-disciplined. So what he does is he programs everything out. I'll come in, he'll show me how to do some of these workouts that I don't know how to do, give me like the tips on what I need to be making sure I'm doing. So he'll do like the first week for me, but then he'll plan out the next 3 months for me. So I just got to follow the curriculum that he writes out for me.
Well, okay, so what are some of your favorite high intensity movements? Like if you could give me 5 things that as a person just to do just to make me healthy, better fighter, what are you giving me? 5 movements. Give me 5.
The row machine,
machine?
explosive rows, man makers. Y'all do man makers?
No, but we will Google it.
Okay, man makers.
We're Googling man makers.
It's
Y'all
like
get that.
you get these 2 dumbbells. You end up doing a push up. You come up. You end up loading, exploding, coming back down. So it's like a burpee with dumbbells.
Are you on your knees when you're doing it?
Nuh-uh.
Okay.
Just regular. It's just like a
Push-up?
burpee. So a full burpee all the way
full
down
burpee with weight.
with the weights, and then you come up and you jump and explode with the weights.
Okay, so it's a weighted burpee, basically.
Yeah, essentially.
Oh my God, burpees suck.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Oh, horrible.
I like that. Oh, look, he's pulling it up. Man, it's like Joe Rogan up in here. You got a guy pulling up videos.
He's pulling up the man makers. I'm not going to be a man anytime soon after I watch that video.
Yeah, man.
Okay,
so you do a little lift with each arm. He's doing a slow motion. This is not an explosive man maker, but it's essentially this movement.
It is in slow motion.
Oh, okay, I got you. And so he's just coming up and exploding up.
Exploding up. Like a cling, kind of like a cling, and then going up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, full speed, those suck. So the row, the ski machine is pretty brutal. Then we have, like, he'll have me doing explosive squats, like weighted squats, but all explosive
jump
movements.
Like jump squats? Jump
Yep,
squats? Okay.
Trying to just explode up throughout the motion. And then one more workout, he'll have the assault bike is a killer. So and all these exercises are in tandem. So like you're 30 seconds on one, straight to the next. So like you're supersetting.
Kind of like a CrossFit. Like you go from one event to the other, and then it's rounds. You do one after you complete each. That's one round.
Yep. And a lot of times we'll like simulate the fight. So we'll have like periods of like rest, periods of explosion. Yeah. Yeah, and Tyler will have me doing all this, but like really exploding.
And I see that because you're getting the push-up, you're getting the squat, you're getting some shoulders. It's kind of a diverse thing. So.
Yeah. So it's super important. But yeah.
You know who's very strong for John Jones?
Oh yeah.
Like John Jones, seen him squat like well over 500, bench well over 315, deadlift 600 pounds, and he's a long, lanky guy, but he's very strong and into powerlifting. And I mean, that guy's pretty impressive.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a big fan of John Jones, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, okay, as a person, a human being, a coach, what is your vision? Like, in a few years, what do you want to accomplish? I know you said, like, fighting, we get to a certain age where we can't do that anymore, powerlifting, whatever our sport may be. But what is your vision and ultimate goal for not only your gym, but yourself? Where do you want to be? What is the mountaintop?
That's a good question, man. I didn't even expect to start coaching, so it's like I feel like it's constantly evolving and
so
changing.
It's like you're almost at the mountaintop creating another mountain because you're already past where you thought you would be. So then now you're just continuing to grow.
For sure, and then just setting my goals higher for sure. I think ultimately I don't want a bunch of gyms. I prefer just quality over quantity, if that makes sense. And I really just want to make sure that whatever I'm doing out of passion and because I love it, and to bring the next generation up. So right now my main goal is to just continuing to focus on the gym and continuing to grow. We've done some pretty big things this year. We've gone to World Championships in Muay Thai in Iowa. We've got the U.S. Open coming up. So we're not just competing here locally. We're one of the few gyms that's going all across the United States to train and to compete. And
I
at
like
the
your gear
highest
too.
level.
The gear is dope. I like
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, just continuing to build the family that we've built over there. It's really just become a community. So just
How
moving
many?
up.
How big is that family right now?
I think we're only at like 120 members.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's
I mean, said whenever you're touching people's lives and like in a way that it's a one-on-one basis as a fighter, because only two people stand across from each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal because that's a lot of people and a lot of attention to detail. So whenever you look at it that way, it's a lot of people. This is not just somebody clocking in.
Yeah.
We are working with these people in an individual to make them good at an individual sport.
For sure.
So that's a very good mark.
Well, thank you.
Okay, what really made me want to interview you is I see the passion, like there's people that post, but I could actually see that you care about your fighters, you're at your events, and that you're really hands-on with everything. And like people can see your heart when they see your videos, you know what I'm saying? And well, then this guy's for real, he's not faking or shaking or just trying to get some likes, he's really into it. And I really respect you. What do you think developed that, like through you growing up, what developed your heart, your ethic and everything? What person was it? Mom, dad, was it? Who was it?
It was Rick. Yeah,
Rick?
Yeah, man.
So were your parents, were they there or not? Really?
Yeah, my mom's always been there for sure. My dad wasn't really around until I became an older teenager. So I didn't really have a male figure in my life. I really just had my mom. And so when I started martial arts, he kind of just taught me certain things I didn't really know as far as becoming a man, like the things like discipline, respect, certain little basic things, just basic hygiene, just how to carry yourself. So a lot of that all started there, and then in martial arts in general really just taught me kind of the character that I wanted to be, because there's certain aspects in martial arts that just translates into life. And so then the more I just trained and wanted to be better, it makes you want to be better in everything else. So like same thing, I always wanted to be a better fighter, but now I want to be better at business. I want to be better at my finances. I want to be a better husband. I'm just constantly on the search of trying to get better. So it's just translated.
Okay, so you said Pop wasn't there like it should have been. Does that kind of help you to be there for people more, like whenever they're younger, knowing that like you wanted a part or a figure there and that wasn't there, so that now when you have the opportunity to touch kids, it's like you know how important that role is, and then you play that role for them, like Rick did to you.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, that's 100%, and that's really where the passion of all this started too, is because I know how much I appreciate it, and so if I can just be that person for one other person, then I'm good to go. I know my job's done. If I can just, because I know how valuable it is to just make an impact on somebody. So yeah, that's my main goal, is to just make an impact on a few people. Luckily, so far, we've been able to do that with a couple people, and there's nothing more fulfilling than knowing that you made an impactful part of someone's life.
Not only that, and that is that one day that you're going to turn on the TV and then you're going to see somebody that you touched their career and they're going to be playing on TV or fighting on TV. You know what I'm saying?
Hopefully.
If I have to roll my dice, I'm betting for you.
Yeah,
you know,
man,
it's like whether it's football, look at Jordan Whittington from Cuero.
Mm-hmm.
He's now playing for the Rams.
Yeah, for sure.
Different guys that grew up just in the community, and they're making names for themselves and creating legacies. And every person that goes on to accomplish whatever their accomplishment, you're still a part of that because you touched their career.
For sure, and even if it doesn't like get to that point, so obviously my whole goal, and that's what we're on track to really build some high-level fighters. But even if, like, let's say worst case scenario, like we just make some better people out there. Like I'm cool with that too. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So many times, and I see it happen all the time. We were talking earlier about like that's the hardest part of the gym, is like seeing people leave the gym, and whether it be football or another sport, or they get a boyfriend or whatever, it can get so hard to see them leave. But even if they trained for 4 years and ended up leaving and never trained again, these same values, lessons, and discipline will get carried over into anything. So it's always a win.
It's even like just being able to protect yourself as a person, and then you never know what situation somebody's going to be in where they have to use what you taught them.
Yeah,
you
for
know
sure.
What I mean? So,
for sure.
and then even like, okay, so kids are going to school, there's bullying, there's shootings and stuff like that. So when you're training kids, it's like, how do you teach them how to, like, this is a sport, but don't just go out there and misuse what I'm teaching you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the talk I do have with them. So going back to like what I don't overdo is I don't parent them. I am their coach. I teach them how to fight. I make sure that they're not abusing it, that they're not out there bullying, they're not out there picking fights. But I do leave it up to their parents on how to handle bullies. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be the coach saying like, no, don't defend yourself. Don't ever use this stuff outside of the gym. But I also don't want to be the coach that's like,
hey, Johnny, just
go whoop him.
Got 17 stitches to come get your student.
Right. I don't want to be that guy either. So ultimately, and that's not my job really. That's the parents' job, So my job is to give them the tools. It's their parents' job to tell them when they can and can't use them.
When they can and can't use them.
But obviously, don't go out there abusing them. That's one thing about the gym too. Is like when you wear our brand and you're part of our team, you have to hold up to the values of the team. So don't be out there acting an ass. Even my adults, don't be out at the bar wearing a Satori shirt acting a damn fool like you.
If I see somebody in a Satori shirt, they getting pepper sprayed out the way. Come to the party lot. Hold on, let me get my can. Shh, I got something for you,
yeah,
ninja.
for sure. That's the way to go, dude. For sure.
You gonna see how you fight with this shit in your eye. Okay, so if people are interested in your gym, how do they contact you? And where is your gym?
So we are at 2523 North Lawrence Street. That's right next to Pappillion Salon. We are right next door. Is there a relation there?
No, there's no. I'm 2 P's, bro.
Okay, my bad.
You look like Vidal Sassoon, brother.
Hey,
everybody says that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
I didn't know, man.
As much as you go to the bathroom, of course you have 2 P's in you.
So we're right next door to them. In that little town shopping center.
Okay, so it's also by Clean Plate, like in that little area?
A little bit further down the road. So, like, where the old food city was?
Mm-hmm.
We're right across the street in that little center right there. So we're right across from the old food city. You can also reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or just call the gym number. It's 361-652-6550, I think.
6650. Okay, I mean, that's interesting. So, what else do you offer there? So, like, okay, say that I'm coming in, I'm a new person. So, how would you baby me into the baby steps of fighting? Like, how do you take a person, say a woman wants to use martial arts to lose weight or whatever they want to do it for, because not everybody's going to fight, but how do you basically break people in to come to your gym?
Yeah, that's the cool thing about our gym, too, is like, and that's ended up happening. We started a 6 a.m. group for all ladies just trying to lose weight, and now half of them are fighters. So it ended up being crazy. But the best
all
thing,
ladies just tying their hair out to my...
Dude, they just competed not that long ago. They're out there like, yeah, these are they're crazy. I don't even mess with them, man. Like I don't even go to 6 a.m. I'm not trying to have no part of them. So, but dude, man, they're violent too.
She cut me off in the parking lot. She finna get it.
Hey, just man. So anyway, yeah, you can come in, man. We work with everybody at whatever skill level. So if we have fighters in camp, we obviously have them doing their own little separate thing. But even my fighters, they work with people that are brand new. The cool thing about gyms, I think most gyms, is that no matter where your skill level is, you're not just gonna come get manhandled and bullied. We're gonna work with you to make you better, and that's how the gym gets better. We have to build each other, not break each other.
See, I've been in prison, so like whenever you fight like in front of a whole bunch of people, you're kind of insecure because you're about to expose every weakness that you have to everybody. You understand?
Yeah.
And then some people aren't willing to do that. You know what I mean? Like where you get out there and they're like, oh yeah, he ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
And we can take his comments. We can do whatever we want to.
Right.
So there's a lot of insecurities. That when people come into the gym, man, I don't want people to see me yet. I'm not on that level yet. So then they don't want to be kind of in a group. So you have to like baby them and then kind of uplift their self-esteem a little bit before they really can be around people and be willing to just be themselves, work, train, and not worried about being judged. That's what I see a lot in any gym.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, and that's definitely. Oh yeah. That's definitely. I may need to look at that to know the deal. I always forget the deals. Like we have people that'll run deals and I don't even know what they are. But so the main thing is nobody feels goofy, man, because everybody, especially in our gym, like everybody sucks at something. You know what I mean? And everybody started somewhere. So even if I have someone come in off the street, nobody's even gonna think twice and act like you should know how to do everything. Instead of like judging you, they're gonna come help you. They're gonna show you, hey, this would work better here, and then they have someone doing that to them, and then they have someone better than that doing that to them. So we're all just in there to help each other.
Nurturing each other's spirit more
Yep.
than bodies. You're helping everybody and lifting them up. See, I always say that about a powerlifting meet. Like, if you've never been to a powerlifting meet, I'll wrap my opponent's knees. We're helping each other. We're cheering each other on.
Yep.
And it's like a competition, but it's still a respect for an opponent, and we're still having fun, and it's still people uplifting each other. And we do this as a sport because, in the end of the day, this is a sport. It's not real life.
Yep.
It's just something we love to do. It's our passion.
For sure.
So,
For sure.
all right. So, any shout outs that you want to give? Any
Yeah, so we do have a special going on right now, a back to school special for anybody that's looking for a productive outlet for your kids. We offer you to come try a free week and see what you guys think. This special right now is if you buy 2 months, you get 1 free. You buy 4 months, you get 2 free, and you buy 9 months, you get 3 free. So that's a very good deal, especially considering that you end up getting months of training for free. But just come check us out, try a week, see what you guys think.
Man, you know what the most amazing part of that deal is? Is that, okay, I'll have a client, right, and he'll spend $400. He'll give me his money, and then he won't come back.
Yep.
So then they have that free week to say, hey, do I really want to make this step?
Yep.
So you're giving them a free week of, hey, I'm gonna let you see what I have, and then you go from that.
For sure. Well, and then I also recommend, like, too, I tell people all the time, I'm pretty honest with people. I say, hey, go try all the gyms in town. Don't just come here, because how do
It's
you
a mixed
know?
martial art.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you know? And then every single one of us, we're all different. So, like, you may not fit here, and you may fit over there. Or you may not fit over there, and you may fit over here.
And
so
it's no hard feelings.
No, for sure. Because I mean, honestly, if you come over here, like, as much as I could just take your money, like, you're not gonna stick around if you don't like it. You know what I mean? And then now
And then you can't develop a story or somebody that, hey, this is who I built, because they're unbuildable if they don't stick around.
Right. Well, and then now maybe I ruined the sport for you. You know what I mean? Maybe you didn't like the way that I coach. Like, maybe you wanted to go somewhere that did things a little bit different. But now you think of the sport bad because you had a bad experience with me. You know what I mean? So I always recommend try a week, see what you think. Try somewhere else, see what you think. Make an educated decision. Don't just jump into the first bed that you know.
All right, so Tap or Scrap, you will be there.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be coaching. Yeah, I won't be. Yeah, I'll just be coaching.
So you'll be coaching. Okay, who's your fighters again? Let's go ahead.
So Greg Johnson is, they call him Uncle Greg. He'll be fighting for the main event. He is fighting a rematch for a title, for the 145 title. And then Kenneth Sanchez is going to be fighting at 135. This will be his 3rd MMA fight.
Cool. Brandon Wakefield, Satori Gym. That'll wrap it up for today.
Cool.
I think we did all right.
Yeah.